Okay,
There we
how
go.
about now? All right. Okay, so I'm so glad to make it to the meeting. You guys are catching me on a really, I don't know if I even have my camera on. Do I have my camera on so you can see me?
I don't see you.
Okay. Well, that's probably better because I was attacked by my dermatologist this week and it's not a pretty sight. So I do want to say hi again. You're hearing from Wendy Carbash again. So if you're tired of seeing me, I would encourage you to volunteer. UVU is not the only concurrent enrollment that we have in the state, and we know a lot of you have really great ideas and best practices that we want to hear. So please volunteer to do this so you don't have to keep seeing me or my blank screen. All right, so I want to the things I'm going to talk to you about today is to briefly discuss how UVU modified for the pandemic, mostly with the live interactive classes. And I'm going to focus on, because the pandemic is almost over, what are we doing now? What are we going to do next year? And what things have we learned that we're going to take from the changes that we did make? So the first thing I want to talk about is March, about this time last year, we were on spring break and the pandemic had already happened in Utah. We had a few deaths around the country and we went into lockdown. So UVU closed during our spring break and we were just essentially told, don't come back from spring break. You're all gonna go online. So effective the first day after spring break, UVU went completely online. We just jumped online and hoped for the best. So our faculty were supposed to just use Canvas and it became completely online. The face-to-face classes at the high school, we just let the high schools determine what was going to happen with those classes. So we did, after the spring, we looked at our data to see how our students did. And what you're seeing here is our SRI information. No, this is not. This is our grade comparison. So we're looking at our face-to-face here, and they did, of course, that was a whole year class. So that last bit of the last semester, you don't see a big change. But with our face-to-face classes that were only the last semester, they also just a little bit of a drop, but live interactive dropped from 93 to 88% success rate. And though our failure rate wasn't as bad, what we had done during that semester is let students withdraw all the way to the last day of the semester. So you're not seeing too many failures, but you do see the huge increase in withdrawals. And that it goes across the board with our face-to-face as well as the full year. Those students were allowed to withdraw from the class and not take the grade. They also could take a credit. Very few chose that option where maybe they were going to get a C and they're an A student. So they just wanted the credit. That's the first time we've ever allowed that. So some students opted to do that, to take the credit, but not the actual grade they were going to get in the class. So it didn't mess up their GPA. So that's what it looked like a little bit for spring. This is the data from our SRI, and we asked the students, this is what I think was the most important question that came from our SRI, was they had a list and they got to choose the top 3 things their instructor did to help them be successful in the class. And so you can see up here, a big surprise for us at UVU was that the top thing, 52% of the students rated video recordings as the top thing that helped them get through their spring semester. And then Canvas assignments, most of it is about communication and stuff, but this was a really big surprise to us because especially with live interactive, we had never allowed our recording to be put on Canvas before. And so we kind of held those in, so that was kind of a surprise. So then June came along and we were like, what are we going to do for this fall? You guys all remember how crazy it was last summer. No school district had plans that were the same as any other school district. UVU teachers, we knew might not be able to teach from their campus classroom, from the special UEN classrooms that we had. We knew that there would be no consistency of when a student was on campus at the high school or off campus. How were they going to be able to attend, our restrictive schedule? We really needed for this year to have a flexible plan for our live interactive classes. And it was not quite as hard for face-to-face because the teachers are out there. I know we did get some permissions from departments for our face-to-face teachers to go online under certain circumstances. But the big problem was for our live interactive classes that also have adults in them. So we chose in June to go to a live interactive modified version, and we gave the students 3 options to attend class. And because of that data where they said the recording was, that we went ahead to do and allowed the recordings to be in this whole year. So students could come to school and attend class in the UEN classroom just like usual, or if they weren't comfortable doing that, they could attend on their computer, laptop, or just at home, and so that was also synchronous. So they were hearing a lecture, they were interactive, they were able to ask questions if they wanted to, and if they could get there. The students were also given the ability to be counted as in class if they watched that recording later. So that was the asynchronous part of this, so that they could, it didn't matter if they were going to class Monday and Tuesday and then Wednesday they'd be home. Sometimes we were hoping that there would be a time that they could attend that synchronous part of the class and be part of the class. So we have gone through fall semester, and it was time to look at our grades for fall and to see how they did. So in our face-to-face semester classes, the percentages only dipped 1%. I mean, it's really quite good. The face-to-face classes, even with the high schools going off and online, you can see that there's still a really good success rate. Down here, we saw a dip, from 6% the previous fall, and it's almost for the past 3 years kind of become a little harder, but 10% of our students were not successful, and that's very concerning to us. And then the W's pretty much stayed the same because we weren't allowing that option this year, since they knew what they were getting into when they started. We didn't allow them to withdraw at the very last day. So we have some concerns here. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to say here. I think that's all. All right, so we take that with us, and then our SRI for this past semester, same question, but because they were able to come to class sometimes, I asked the students, what 3 things did happen during your class that helped you to be successful? And of course, you can see that it's not the video recording, but it's very important for them to be able to come to school. I mean, 70% of them said, I want to be in school. And that's what helped me. And you can kind of tell that that's so important, because not only is the teacher there, but also the students, that they can ask questions amongst each other, they can help each other. And I think that camaraderie is really quite important. The video recording is still on here, though. It's moved down to the 3rd place in fall, but it's still on there. And then, of course, any kind of communication was important. So I'm not showing you all of them, but I'm just kind of showing you the top ones that the students from fall reported on. Okay, so let's see, where am I? So now we've got the data. What are we going to take away from this? So we kind of feel like this was a forced pilot program, right? Every class all of a sudden is being treated differently. We did have some problems though, and we want to be, but we want to kind of take live interactive and not change all the classes. We're going to keep having live interactive, but we want to try and maybe do a live interactive 2.0. And so this is what we've come up with, and it's not completely approved, but we call it Live Flex. And we got this name from the Inside Higher Education publication. We found out that what we had been doing already in the fall had a name. That the buzzword now is HiFlex or hybrid flexible. And each class session and learning activity is offered in person, synchronously and asynchronously. So there's so much flexibility there. Students can decide how they want to participate. Oh, and I didn't mention, but even this semester, students didn't have to always say at the beginning, okay, I'm going to be home the whole semester, or I'm going to be in class the whole semester. They got to change every day. It was flexible. So, so based on this, we felt like the flexibility of what the HiFlex model is really is kind of how our students, oh, they're just so flexible, right? They want to be able to make those choices. And then we have something that we can do if there's a disruption. So instead of hybrid flex, we decided to go with live flex because we really want to focus on that synchronous part of class where students can attend, because that is the most important thing to them. Okay, so for live flex, we want to combine our live stream face-to-face with the online learning. So why choose it? This is what we're going through here. The lectures are recorded and available. And one of the things when we've come out to your high schools, we always hear how it's so hard for students to attend because of the bell schedules, and every high school is different. And we feel like this option might be really good for students who are having that problem, that they can't meet, they can't come to class at the particular time. Let's see, secure. We want to use Teams. That's what we're proposing right now. But the important thing is that it's not 100% online. We really want to have it synchronous and asynchronous. And they will get to attend class with other college students. So we'll still have the adult college students in there. And another thing that makes this flexible is that the college professors also can teach from their office or from home if they want. And so hopefully these reasons are kind of what we're seeing. Now, how do we want to help that 10%? We're hoping that if we can get this going by next fall, and it won't be all our live interactive classes, we're going to choose some that have been successful this year, 4 probably, and we're going to work with the instructor. And we also have some extra support that we don't have this year, where we can have our students take a quick workshop to help them understand Canvas, how to use it, how to get notifications from Canvas, and how their classes are going to work. Our OTL office has put that together, and they have offered that we could use that for the high schools. As well as we want to have Civitas, we want our advisors to be able to watch to make sure that the students are on task. And again, just like in the live interactive classes, we'll have our high school facilitator have access to the grade book so that she can make sure the students are on task and haven't just given up. And she can contact parents. So that's kind of where we're headed. And like I say, it's not in stone and it's kind of a moving target. But for this fall, we'd like to just have a pilot where we can see if we can help some students who are having problems participating with the bell schedules, or sometimes I know in NEBA schools, they have to actually get on a bus and go to a different classroom. That maybe this might be an option. So that is what we're doing at UVU. Is there any questions?
So you said you're just going to start with like 4 classes, or you 4 different courses?
Yeah. So what we did was we looked at the classes that are running right now and the teachers and the teachers that are already not coming to the classroom. They're working from home to see and how successful they are. So we're kind of looking at that as the ones to pick. And then we want to know if it's been a really long time since we've moved to if we've tried or piloted a fully online class.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to try 2 online classes completely online and see how those work as well. Because the last time we did, it was just really quite a failure. And we don't like to see the students fail. So we want to pick we want to pick an online class and a teacher so that the variable won't be the teacher. It really will be, is it the online? We're kind of staying clear of the sciences and math, no science and math for these pilots. Otherwise, Live Interactive will continue to have to go on like it is, but it will be up to the teacher to decide if he wants to put the recording on or not. And just so you know, there's a lot of pushback from our professors about that recording. Many of them really like to have their students in front of them, and they don't like it when there's only 4 or 5 in class. But there are some that we're looking for, the ones that are willing to try this and see how that's going to go. Is there any other questions?
Hi, Wendy, may I ask a question as well?
Sure.
I'm wondering about assessment and if most of the courses that you piloted this with are using just kind of like a 3 assessments throughout the session, because like I know that in talking to folks in the K-12 realm, having both the in-person and asynchronous models, like assessment gets tricky because of the student not being able to participate in other circumstances that might change what those assessments look like. So if you have any insight on that, I'd be appreciative.
Well, what we did this semester is all the assessments were just online through Canvas. I think the class that had the hardest hit with an assessment for us this year was Art 1010, where that professor only had 2 assessments, but he did have a lot of assignments that he would have them turn in. But at the same time, those 2 assessments, they're pretty difficult. So I guess, I don't know if I've answered your question, but I guess that's something we need to look at. Do you think, and I'm open to suggestions really, what are your thoughts on best practices for that?
Best practices is a tough phrase for me at the moment as it relates to the pandemic, just because everything's kind of so new. I guess I don't know what a best practice would be, but from in talking to kind of stakeholders across the state, the things that I've heard come up is that sometimes when there's kind of asynchronous and synchronous opportunities simultaneously, as you mentioned in your LiveFlex model, that instructional mechanisms kind of default towards lecture and away from like kind of like student discussions and other kind of interactions that are impossible if a student is just watching a video of the course. And so like trying to kind of problem solve through how you can make, and Canvas is, I've heard folks say that Canvas is a great tool for interactivity with forums and such, even if a student is asynchronous, because they have the opportunity to participate, just not at the same time as everyone else. So that's what I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about now. So yeah, it does lend itself well just to the more lecture than the flipped learning and the group activities. Obviously, that makes it less engaged, right? And that's one of our big things here at UVU. And so that might be a problem for us. But I guess the goal for the LiveFlex is, can we reach more students who were unable to come to a regular classroom? That's really the whole focus of this, that because of their high school schedule, they need this. One of the concerns that we did have this fall is that we see counselors putting students in too many classes with too many credits. And because it's asynchronous, it's like, oh, you can do it on your own time, right? But we've seen students up to 20 credits this semester, and it's kind of, that's what is concerning, is we need to make sure that our counselors are watching that the students aren't taking 15 of our credits and still taking all these AP classes at the high school. We just worry. I do worry about that. Any other questions?
I have a comment. The students love it. They love the recording. They love that if they have a ball game that interferes, they can go home and watch it.
Yeah, and that's what we've heard, and that's what our SRIs are telling us, is even if they went to class, I actually am taking a really technical class right now myself here at UVU, and it's a live stream class, but to be able to go back and slow down that lecture and go through some of the procedures that I needed to learn again through the recording has been invaluable to me. And I think that's something that our professors aren't, I mean, we need to teach them that sometimes this is really, really helpful to be able to go through and see it again.
I'm going to add to that too, Wendy. There are students who actually enjoy the fact that they can go back. Some of our underserved can't understand some of the language, so it's helped them to be able to put that back in context when they've been able to watch the recording again. So that's been very helpful.
Oh, that's really good to know, because that is one of our goals this year and this coming year, is to be more proactive toward our underserved students.
Also, one other comment I have, the engagement piece that you guys were talking about, there was a professor that actually built in discussions, and so he built in those assignments ahead of time, didn't hold class, so that students can get into Canvas and actually do their discussions. So that kept them engaged.
Well, I think we've gotten to a point where we can't go back to the same old that we were doing before the pandemic. So at this point, we need to see how what is good that we can carry forward, and we're hoping to find that with our LiveFlex. And that's all I have, if there's no more questions.
Doesn't look like, I don't see anything in the comments. Nathan says, thank you very much, Wendy. And I want to say thank you as well. We'll
Okay,
try
I
not-
will
we'll try not
reiterate.
to-
I
we'll
will
try not to
reiterate.
bug you again about
Yeah, somebody else needs to volunteer for the next one.
somebody else's turn. Thank you so much. And that's very helpful, I think, in understanding some of the issues that we have to look at when we're trying to make these kind of things happen is, what's good for the students. So I appreciate you being able to show us some of the data that you're getting, and what you guys are doing to kind of overcome some of those issues.
Oh, well, we're very welcome, and we really would like to hear from other schools to see, what you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
And not just from higher ed, but we're very interested to hear what some of the high schools have done to make things work outside the box at your school. Do you think something's very different? That'd be great to hear.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Wendy, and thank you, everybody, for dealing with our Zoom issues. I don't know if Sid ever got in. Did you see if Sid ever got in, Camille?
I don't know.
Okay. I sent her an invite, but I did record this, so we'll get this on the website as well, so everybody will be able to rewatch it or see it for the first time. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Wendy.
Bye.